The Rebbe is done, the Rebbe is done, the Rebbe is done. The Rebbe is done, the Rebbe is done, the Rebbe is done. The Rebbe is done, the Rebbe is done, the Rebbe is done. The Rebbe is done, the Rebbe is done, the Rebbe is done. Bal yeder kibbutz und Chassidim is der Rebbe done. Bal yeder kibbutz und Chassidim is der Rebbe done. Bal yeder kibbutz und Chassidim is der Rebbe done. Bal yeder kibbutz und Chassidim is der Rebbe done. As der Talmid hat gesagt, as der Rebbe da, is der Rebbe da. As der Talmid hat gesagt, as der Rebbe da, is der Rebbe da. As der Talmid hat gesagt, as der Rebbe da, is der Rebbe da.
Steht Nifredu. Rashi says, what's Nifredu? Nifredu is the lulav is split from on top. From the bottom, it's mechuber milamata. Nifretu, it's totally broken, it's totally split all the way to the bottom. Perhaps that's the pshat in Asudas Preida. You don't say Asudas Preida, Nifretu, because it's oid mechuber milamata. The oilam feels tremendous connection. Rabbi Wohl was here in town just a little over a year. But the connection that he has, the oilam that he has, that the people that like him and the people that connected to him and the people that were nehana from him, bein b'sichas shulchan mit the Chachamim and bein b'divrei Torah, b'divrei Musa, b'divrei Chassidus, Baruch Hashem, it's such a big oilam. So it's taka nifrid, it's such a great loss. But the nifrid that we feel is here. I told Rabbi Wohl that no one's going to have any tightness, that if this is prayed, he's going to say, you know what, I decided I'm going to stay. I'm very happy. Even the Bietzlach won't say he wasted his money if I cared. We showed him how much we love him and how much covet we gave him. So Baruch Hashem, I just want to finish off. It's Yodua, when the Beis Halevi left Slutsk. So Yosla Slutska had a son, Reb Meir Feimer, Reb Meir Slutska, and he got up and he said at Rosh, and he said as follows. He says, Tayra Beis Halevi, Shteitach, you were here in our town, we had tremendous kashas. We had so many questions, you answered it to us. We asked you in so many areas. But there's one kasha you can't answer, and that's kosher le predaschem. That kasha you can't answer. Rabbi Wohl, you were here in this town, Baruch Hashem, a zoiche gewend. He gave us over from all your Rebbeim. You was zoiche to learn an unbelievable way you learned in Vishnitz, Ponovich, Tifrach. You were by Reb Shlomo Zalman. You were by the Gedolei HaTorah, Vayira, Vachsidus, Vamusa, a person from so many vast backgrounds, connected to every sort of Yid, no difference where he came from, every background, every Yid, every Chassidus, every Misnagid, every Yekka, every dimension of every Jew, Baruch Hashem, whether they spoke in English or Yiddish or Ivrit or whatever they spoke. Rabbi Val, you were there. Spanish? Does he speak Spanish? I didn't know.
Un poquito.
So, no, aber ein kasha you can't answer us. That's kosher le predaschem. That kasha that you're going away, the kasha is going to be very, very hard for us here in Shtok. And with David and with Vincent, with Nala Zoicha Zay, Fotach Tziriki Mitzashem, Tishlayim and HaKodesh. We hope to meet you there very, very soon. About the Knesses, about the Midrashis that are seeking to go. And Mitzashem, we'll see you there. Mitzashem, Bebinyan Beis, Mikdashem, and Bemeher, V'yameinu. Amen.
Tanya, the Yitzchak and Nervous of Preida, our good friend, Arye Wohl, who's been there for over a year. Enhanced our community with his Torah, Preida, Chassidus, beautiful tefillos. The first time we met, I think, was Shavuos night. This night, Prima Godem, then Godem, The Rebbe was able to see on the fire that he was able to bring in to light up. Take from this week's parasha. It says, when Yaakov Avinu came back, Yaakov Avinu made a statement and said, "I'm loving Garati, Ve'echa Adata." Says Rashi, what does it mean, I'm loving Garati? He says, I'm loving Garati, V'tayag mitzvah shamarti, V'ayv'lei madati masavarav. And some Sefer asks, is how can that be that the Tariag mitzvah is shamarti? He lives in Chutz La'aretz, and in Chutz La'aretz it's impossible to fulfill 613 mitzvahs. One question. The other question that some Sefer asks is, even though the right word should have been Tariag mitzvahs kiyamti, I fulfilled, not shamarti. It says that some Sefer beautiful pshat, that even though a person a lot of times can't fulfill certain mitzvahs, it's impossible, even if he lives in that Yisrael, he's not okay. Mitzvahs Tluis Ba'aretz, he can't fulfill them. It says, Shamarti is relation of Aviv, Shamar, Sadavar. He looks forward to do that. So even though he was living in Chutz La'aretz, but it's as if he lived in Yisrael. So the schus of having a Rabbi here for a year, might have lived in Chutz La'aretz, but we felt he was living in Yisrael. He grew in the whole town and flavor of Yisrael, of the Tariag Mitzvah, Shamarti. Mind, his body might have been here, but his mind was, everything was in that Yisrael. We felt the connection, the needs of Yerushalayim, the Kedusha of Yerushalayim. Once heard from Yaakov Meir Shechter, one of the big wrestler of Mashpiyim. Once spoke for the American Yugolite. So he says, rather to live in Chutz La'aretz and be thinking about Eretz Yisrael, and to live in Eretz Yisrael by thinking about Chutz La'aretz. A beautiful chat. We lived over here last year. We lived in Chutz La'aretz where we felt we were in Eretz Yisrael. It's ridiculous to have you. Motivation, Kedusha, Torah, they were able to influence our community at large. Last time was mentioned, the last week's parasha mentioned on Shabbos, that when it says it's Tis Tzadik Menir Yisrael Roshim, says this last time, it doesn't mean to say it leaves a void, Pasuk Shad and Rashi. But rather, we want to see that a person had a positive influence, you realize even after he left. After he left, we can see the positive influence. I'm sure, I want you to leave, but unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be our loss. You're going to leave, you're definitely going to start feeling it after you leave. Because you will see the Roshim, they actually left this community. We wish them much bracha, v'atzlacha, chayil v'chayil, be able to elevate, chazik, Neshamas, elevate Torah, v'avodah, v'chsidus, we shall zoicha together, to be together, to binyan, Yerushalayim, v'peir,
Amen.
Thank you so much. The idea of the Medrash says that the chus of the geula from the first base mission was chus Rachel. Rachel was she Rachel vat Adonai because she gave up the simon. If you look at the whole Medrash, it's a Pelvic Medrash. It says Avraham Avinu came, Yitzchak came, Yaakov came, Moshe Rabbeinu came. Because Baruch didn't answer that. Really, the question is that Avraham Avinu gives up everything, right? That's really better, bigger than Rachel. Is that Avraham Avinu is willing to shech his son, give up everything that, if he shechs Yitzchak, the shot is that his whole life is nothing, right? And he's willing to give that up. And that's less than what Rachel gave up her simonim, where eventually she got married also, but still she gave up the simonim, which is an unbelievable thing. But why is that better than Yitzchak that was willing to get killed? Why is that better? I think it's like an interesting thing in the Parsha. You see like a pelvic conversation is that Rachel asked for Bukidon, and Rachel says, like a half a big thing. And how does she say that? And what does Rachel answer? Rachel answers, because today you'll have Yaakov tonight and give him the dawn. Right? Rachel's not upset. She's not shocked. And the shot is that what Relay is really saying is that you look at me. Says I, right? To love himself in his name, right? Whether it's al tata, whether because he's around my whatever it is. He says you also didn't tell the Tata no, right? We both listened to our father. So therefore, can you imagine I'm getting married, my first night, how I felt? I was scared the whole night. I didn't enjoy a minute. I was mamish b'pachad that Yaakov was going to find out. So, and after that, Yaakov has kindness on me, right? So it's true, right? So I'm a victim just like everybody else. Yeah. Leah's saying I'm a victim too from this whole thing. So you think that you're the only victim? I'm a victim too. So Rachel says, so therefore, meaning that you can tell Yaakov tonight that I understand where you're coming from, that you're a victim also, so I'm going to fix that. Tell Yaakov, is that it's mamish b'leiv shalom, I'm giving you to Yaakov. And there's no feelings, bad feelings. I understand what you're doing, what you're feeling. Therefore, I want you to be with Yaakov totally without any hakbadas. There's no hakbadas b'chlal. And so Rachel is fixing, right? Even though she's obviously hurt, she understands that Leah is also hurt. So therefore, she's willing now to give her, and that's why you saw her Wohl Taka come from, because now Leah has a connection with Yaakov that's without being scared, without doing, and Rachel's willing to give that over. So Rachel's time to Rabbi Shalom is what is it? You're jealous? You're jealous of Rabbi. So I was able, even though I was hurt and I was insulted, and I was able to see Leah's perspective. And I was able to see Leah's perspective, and therefore, right, and I was a makbid. So what are you angry about? You're angry because you're jealous of the Avodah Zarah, that Klal Yisrael is not thing. I'm the same. I was in the same position that you, Rabbi Shalom, are in. So I was able to be Michael, and I was able to give up. So therefore, you, Rabbi Shalom, you should be able to give up too. Everybody else is saying something different, but she's saying, I was in the same matzah that the Rabbi Shalom is in now, and I was able to give up, so you, Rabbi Shalom, should give up. It's an unbelievable thing, is that to be able to see other people's perspective and to understand where they're coming from, and being able to understand is that whatever situation that you feel hurt, nonetheless, somebody else, right, has their perspective and they have their rights, right? That's an unbelievable Milo, and that's the Milo of Rabbi. So I say that the Rav has the same Milo. Is that Miami Beach, we appreciated you being here. And I know that you're going away b'leiv shalom, that you don't have any kindness on any person b'chlal. I know that that's the type of person you are. So that's unbelievable Milo, and you should talk to the Zaycha to have Parnas of the Rabbi, and we should all be together with you in Yerushalayim.
Amen. Those of you who know the Marshal, I'm not going to waste people's time here telling you the whole Marshal of the market, but we just heard we heard we heard that this is the most astounding question. It's kasha like a Preida, right? It's a very, very difficult thing. How do you for such a kasha? Kasha like Preida, right? We heard that. Then we heard from Wohl. We heard that he said that he has the same problem. He has the same kasha. Kasha like Preida. So the side is, see, every kasha has a kasha. Workers has a kasha. No workers has a teretz. But over here, the reason why it's such a short kasha is because there's a kasha, and the other side is also a kasha. Right? Everybody has the kasha. So it's so what's the answer to this kasha? So there's a story they say over from Yonis and Eibschitz. There's a story they say over from Yonis and Eibschitz that when he was a little boy, so when he was a young boy, he was sitting at the table with his father. And so the mother served kasha. We don't eat kasha anymore. Nobody eats it anymore. Outside, that's what people could afford to have. The akasha, you have buckwheat it's called. And so they used to cook up buckwheat. It's not so mishmak to eat, like the food that we're accustomed to. But that's what they could, you could stay alive by eating kasha. So one time his father turns to his son, who was a big Eli already, and he tells him, he says, I got a problem. He says, what's the problem? He says, there's a kasha on the table. I don't have a teretz. So his son said, Tata, that's a shver kasha. I don't know how to answer it right now. Let me think. So they sat there and then they ate the meal, and then after the meal they finished eating. Ooh, you have a teretz? So he says, yeah, Tata, what's the teretz? So he gave him a brisket teretz, and he's talking kasha. Right, that's a teretz. There's no kasha, it's all gone. The kasha was eaten all up. And so the kasha is gone. So anyway, so I'd like to say that kind of teretz over here is that the etzem, I first remember the first time I think of Wohl was he came over with a sefer on Hanukkah, and the Moradika sefer with lots of interesting and fascinating kinds of approaches to different things that we do at Hanukkah, based on the Arizal, but made into Dvarim Shutim for the Hamoina. And after that, we kept on meeting from constantly of different times in the other places, in the Shtivel and other situations. So, and that's all we ever had to do with each other, pretty much. Which means is that the kesher was a kesher of Torah, right? There's a kesher of Torah. And people say, I don't know what the makar for this is exactly, but that when you have a kesher in ruchnius, see, Wohl said another thought is that from the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov says you are where you think you are. If you're thinking about something in your head, so that's where you really are. Because really everything about us is what's going on in our heads. And that's all we appreciate for anything. So if I'm in my head is somewhere, so that's where I am. But there's something that supersedes that. And that is that if you have a kesher ruchni between two people, and if you have a kesher ruchni between a person and a town and a group of people, and whatever it might be, there is no Preida really. There's really no Preida. Because the Maisa, in the world of Ruchnius, everything's connected all together. It's all one. And so that's the teretz to the kasha. The teretz to the kasha is Nishdok and Preida. And just like there's no kasha at the end of this thing, so there's no Preida either. And the whole point of this is just to machazik those kasharim, that we should remain connected in the Gashmiistic way also throughout the years, and whatever should be matzliach, and we should go malam and whatever you will try to accomplish in the future.
Amen.
That Yosef, sit down. There's a Gemara in Brachos in Daf Ches, just a master. As a Talmud Adam is the Rabbi. The Gemara in Brachos says, that Hanina said, only zikne the bubble. Actually, v'chiike zikne the bubble. Is it impossible that there's a kedim in bubble? The pasuk says, "Leman yirbu yemechem, yimei v'nechem ala adama." Ala adama ksiv, so it cannot be such a mysterious. So the answer to him, Kevin the mekabbe mechashche lebikmishte. You're going early in the morning to learn, and going late at night, they sit in Besmedrash. Again, it doesn't answer the kasha. The kasha is tremendous. It's not Eretz Yisrael. He sits in Besmedrash. Great. But it's still Bavel. It's still Miami Beach. Point is, we can see it. We can see from Malmish, from the world, we can understand the Metzias of Torah, because the entire Metzias of the world is only B'shvil Yisrael Shenik relations, B'shvil Ater Shenik relations. When you're coming into the French embassy in New York, you are on French soil. You're not in America. You're going into the American embassy in Yerushalayim, you're in the States, not in Yerushalayim, according to the law. Still in Kedushas Eretz Yisrael. When a person goes into Besmedrash, even when he's not in Besmedrash the entire day, but the people, somebody told me, what is Miami? Somebody came from Eretz Yisrael a year ago during winter. Also Williamsburg, even sometimes they're coming. But people live here the entire year. Of course, what do you mean?
Well, which kind of Eden? I told him, Yidden gemalete to 8 days, Baruch Hashem. Yedei Mishleimim, they wake up in the morning for a shir before Vesikin and after Vesikin, and sometimes even if they're done by a Terech Minyan, still you see them walking to Besmedrash, going back to Besmedrash, maybe driving. I'm the walker. I'm the one that did the suffer the humidity but by walking, but still Yidden living in Besmedrash. So when you're coming into the Besmedrash has Kedushas Eretz Yisrael. When you learn Torah, like Kiblu Yisrael, Eretz Yisrael, Lenitna Eretz Yisrael, the Yisrael El Kadesh, Yekaimu Beis HaTorah. As well as being given to us that we should be Mekayim the Torah. What are we doing during the exile, during the Golus? Pashut, we continue to be Mekayim the Torah. There's an amazing Ramban, an unbelievable Ramban. Ramban says to his son, there's 3 Igros. Everybody knows by Igros Ramban, everybody sees it in the Sidurim. There's the Igros Ramban, it says Shema B'nei Savich. The Moisid, they have the Igros, there's 3 more Igros. One of the Igros is named Ako de Castilla. What we learn from this Iger is that the Ramban's son asked him if he should also come to live in Eretz Yisrael. And he's answering him in a mamash, an amazing tense. He tells him, "Im tuchal lishoma me'aveda." If you can be aware not to sin chal v'shalom. Yoisel mashal ato. Now we're not talking about someone like me. We're talking about the Ramban's son, and he's asking lishoma me'aveda yoisel me'ato. So that he was a big sinner. And he was the Ramban's son and the Rashbish's uncle. And he's asking him, "Tucham lishoma me'aveda yoisel me'ato? Tucham lizor b'kiyum ha'mitzvos yoisel me'ato? Ato boi Baruch Hashem." This is the lashon of the Ramban. Now you should come. Ve'im lav yoisel toiv shetisho shom ki ha'oived aveda be'paltin shel melech. If someone is sinning in the king's castle, in the king's palace, is much worse. Stay in Spain, in Castilla. Says the Marijic Tilia a very interesting thing. He says that if a person is sinning Rahman al-Islam in Israel, he can be Mashra Dalet Ames of Kutzlares in Moki Machet, according to this Ramban, says the Marijic Tilia. In Shari Oila, that if somebody is sinning. So what do we learn Lemaisa from that? That Meruba Midaterim das Kulonians. If according to the Ramban and the Marijic Tilia, that if somebody is sinning Chal V'Shalom in Israel, he creates Dalet Ames of Chutzlaretz. I said once the whole issue is to give back to the Palestinians. I said that there are places in Tel Aviv that has been given away to the French and the Brits probably 70 years ago. From the other side, if a person sins in the embassy of Eretz Yisrael, not in the Israeli embassy, in a Besmedrash, he is Mamshich Kedushas Eretz Yisrael. That's the teretz. That's the teretz that's the explanation of the Gemara. What the Gemara means to say, Alo Adamo. What's the answer? This is Adamo. This is the Besmedrash itself. But when a person comes out from Besmedrash and he schleps with him the Besmedrash into his house, so the streets of Miami Beach become also Kedushas Eretz Yisrael, because you have the Psias itself. And when you bring this Kedusha into the house, from the Mekabli Mechashche, so the entire Metzias, because there's a possibility of Ziknei, of Ziknei Babel and Ziknei Miami. Hashem should help us all, that Be'ez Hashem, I said once that Rabbi Yosef ben Kisma, he said, Ein Dalal B'Makim Torah. So the joke is on me, so what was I doing here? I mean, the Katzila, it's definitely the Yerushalayim, Kiryat Sefer, the Shemesh, Lakewood. It's definitely a bigger Makom Torah. But the point is, if the goal is to come, this is the point that we see in Parshas Kisavai. Says the Parshas Kisavai says the Sifra. V'haya Kisavai l'Aretz Asher maybe it's from Shama v'yirishtem oise v'yishavtem va. Says the Sifra, if you will become the mitzvahs of Bikurim and all these mitzvahs at Liz Baratz, So you'll see, you'll conquer the place and sit in the place. You can't. In reality, once Yeshua ben Nun and Klal Yisrael came into Eretz Yisrael, they had to plant. After planting, it's 3 years of olive. You cannot use the fruits. 4th year is not a revive. Only by the 5th year you can be mekayem the mitzvahs bikurim, and this had to be only after conquering and sitting. You need to be settled. You cannot be mekayem this mitzvah. Says the Afloah, an amazing thing. I think that some Sefer brings the Afloah too. The Afloah says what's the purpose? What's the purpose of coming to Eretz Yisrael? If you're coming because I'm fed up to sit in the midbar for already 40 years and to drink from Bereshel Miriam and to build a tent and to put off the tent and to go furthermore, I want to settle, it's not the reason to come to Eretz Yisrael. The reason to come to Eretz Yisrael is Lekayem Eskola Torah in Eretz Yisrael. This is the reason to come to Eretz Yisrael. So the same thing, it has been a schiyah to be here to try at least. And Baruch Hashem, I had the schiyah to learn. It's a shame that before I came here, I didn't know about so many Chashvet Talmid Chachomim that here in town I didn't know about them before I came here. It's Mamash Abush in the Chabad. And I'm happy that I had the schiyah to know all the Rabbanim here in town. Mamash Big Talmid Chachomim. I'm ashamed of each and every one of them. Their Chachma and Preida. But if the Ratzin is to build a Mokum Preida, so this is a Mokum Preida. This is the Mokum Preida. It was by Yezvin Kisma said, if the Ratzin is that it should become a Mokum Preida, then there is a Metzias to come and stay. Hashem Yazer, that the Metzias of building Preida with all the Rabbanim here in town and such a center of Preida like Preida, Preida, Yeshiva, all these places, Baruch Hashem, Yidden, sitting, learning, coming, learn Torah, should them grow the Mokum Torah, and this will be the beginning of Hasidah Yisrael should dispashet, well, take away from Kula. We should all be zoichet to see one another soon. I want to thank again to Yitzchak and to everybody that participated in this Mesibas Preida. And I don't like to say goodbyes because my father used to say, he has a sentence in Hebrew. He used to say all this. If I zoekt of English, zoekt man never say never.
No es
Wohl.